welcome back to JM Football, and welcome to our final divisional preview. We wanted to make you wait. We wanted to keep you antsy and on your toes. But football's here. Congratulations, you made it through the offseason. And what better way to wrap up with one more divisional preview and talking about
the NFC West.
The NFC West. How you, Dalton, Philly? Hope you enjoyed this little series that we did. Maybe we'll do it every year. Maybe we'll do it next year. Maybe we won't. The first team is the Los Angeles Rams. They lost to the Philadelphia Eagles in the divisional round of the playoffs by a score of 28-22. They played a hard, tough game, came back at the end. Old man Stafford trying doing some heroic things. Last year, they were 15th in offensive EPA per play, 14th in EPA per dropback, 15th in EPA per rush. They finished the year 23rd in defensive EPA per play, 28th in EPA per dropback. Felt like they were better than that. 20th in EPA per rush. At least the pass rush was. Dalton, Philly, what's going on with old man Stafford's back?
That is what the season comes down to for the Los Angeles Rams. And I'm going to go a little bit fantasy-based just for a quick second because I feel like a lot of people, including myself, like the Rams offense as a whole, but it's very murky, the situation with Stafford's back. We saw a lot of the things on Twitter, X, whatever you call it, about the Stafford conspiracy theories, which is nuts. I don't know if you saw any of those.
Oh, yeah, it's really fun. It's like, you know how Avril
completely
Lavigne,
screwed up.
You know how Avril Lavigne is no longer with us?
Didn't she die 20 years ago?
Right. It's the same thing with Matthew Stafford
Crazy.
Matthew Stafford, hashtag Matthew Stafford is dead or whatever it is.
It's a crazy thing that's been going on. He's clearly
I've gotten a kick out of it.
It's like funny. It's just not true.
He's not clearly.
Matthew Stafford's health is the biggest question because, again, you have Devontae Adams and Puka Nacua as your 1-2 wide receiver options. You have Kyron Williams, who is a solid back overall. I think this offense should be good. Stafford's a very solid quarterback, but his health comes down to being the biggest factor for the Rams this year. I want to pick the Rams. I think this defense could be up and coming. Like last year, we saw the spark with Shula and his young unit, and this is going to be year 2 of it, really, of all these young guys like Jared Verse and Brandon Fisk. I just don't know, Justin Penik. Matthew Stafford, man.
Here's what they really need to do. Get me to the month of December with the Rams in playoff contention in the playoff hunt, and then and Matthew Stafford healthy, and watch what happens. Do you know what Matthew Stafford's record in December, January, and February is with the Los Angeles Rams?
December, January, and February?
December, January, and February.
I'm going to say pretty good. I'm just going to throw out a number and say 25-9.
He's played in 21 games.
So way less, but I'll say 13-8.
18-3.
Wow, have a little dyslexia right there.
Yeah.
Very good.
So you're technically right. No, but there are actually like more than just win-loss records. There's like actual numbers on how like Matthew Stafford is really, really good in December, January, February, or really December, January. The only game that you're playing in February is the Super Bowl,
which he's 1-0 in.
Which he's 1-0 in. But actual numbers on like how he's one of the best like clutch quarterbacks too, like especially when you break it down to the second half. Really, out of all quarterbacks in the NFC, if there's a guy like game-winning drive in the fourth quarter, like out of health aside, quarterbacks in the NFC, who do I want the ball in their hands? It's Matthew Stafford right now.
All NFC quarterbacks.
More than Jaden Daniels, more than Jalen Hurts, more than Jordan Love. Give me another one.
Baker.
More than Baker Mayfield. When the game is on the line in the fourth quarter.
I'm taking Iguodala. I love the Max Common clip. I don't hate it. I just think, again, health is the biggest question.
Right.
With the Rams.
But I kind of hate talking about health because you're either healthy or you're not.
I mean, a lot of these guys aren't healthy, but usually health is not as big of a question going into the season. For the most part, it's usually during the season, everyone's banged up.
And I feel like for him, dude, I even remember a couple years ago where it felt like his health was kind of hanging on a thread.
Yeah, I thought he was going to be done a couple years ago.
And then I think the fact that Puka came in, it kind of revitalized not his career, but it kind of brought
second
a
wind,
spark.
if you will.
Yeah, a little bit of a second wind for old man Stafford.
Stop calling him old man Stafford.
Because he is. It's what he is, man.
I understand it. Just give him some respect. Put some respect on Matthew Stafford.
I love Matthew Stafford. He was almost my quarterback.
I know. I was just about to say that, too.
In a way, almost interested that trade didn't happen with the Giants. So,
but Stafford, I mean, last year, I think one of the biggest things in terms of why the Rams offense was a little bit of an enigma was the Rams on third down passing the ball were super inefficient. Early downs, Sean McVay's offense went. They were second in EPA per dropback on early down passing, third in success rate. Very good marks. Third down, 31st in EPA per dropback, 29th in success rate. So they had their struggles on third down, and now with Matthew Stafford being banged up, I'm really curious to see if that even takes a farther step back. And then my other note on the Rams offense in general, I'm curious to see, do they have a big playmaker this year in either Puka Nacua or Devontae Adams? Because one of these guys is going to be big in the passing game. Because Kyron Williams in the running game, no disrespect, he is a good running back. He does a lot of things well, but he doesn't have an elite trait. He's just not explosive. He will run for positive yards, but he will not give you an explosive play. He had the 7th highest first down and touchdown run percentage, but outside of that, like, he wasn't getting these big chunks. And I just don't know, can the Rams get an explosive playmaker in the passing game or in the running game? I think that's one of their other biggest questions on offense.
Respect Tutu Atwell.
One of the weirdest picks, I think, over like the last 6 drafts. I'm sorry.
I think Devontae Adams is still pretty good. Do you want to move to the defensive side of the ball?
Yeah, I mean, do you have any notes on Jared Verse and Braden Fisk? I mean, I think those guys were really good in year 1, and do you think they take a step up in year 2?
Yeah, I think Verse can. I think Verse, the sacks will come a little bit more in year 2 because pressure's an indicator of sacks year over year, and Verse hit the quarterback a lot. He got pressure on the quarterback, and I just like the way that he wins because, look up how old he is for me. If he's not super
Jared
old,
Verse?
Yeah.
I want to say he's 23, 24.
I mean, it still feels like the
24.
The guy's still, all right, 24. It feels like maybe he could get strong, or even NFL strong, right? NFL stronger, and knowing what he needs to do to win in the NFL, especially how he trains his body after year 1. He wins with power, and this isn't a guy that's looking to win with speed or finesse. Like, he's an ass kicker, man, and that's one of the reasons why I had him as, like, him and Quinyon Mitchell 1A, 1B coming out of that draft class. And it's the way that he won. And he won in the same way in the NFL in year 1, which was super, super impressive. Sometimes it takes these edge rushers a year or 2 or 3 to really, really get it going, but not Jared Verse, especially not the ones that are picked in like the top 5 of the draft. And he wasn't a top 5 pick. So really like Verse, and even Fisk's kind of surprised me too from his rookie year and his production and how he performed. This is a very, very young, I don't need to tell you, very, very young front 4, front 7. And I think they're only all going to grow and get better together. Even Kobe Turner and Byron Young.
Kobe Turner, like, he was good last year.
Yeah, for sure. In year 2.
And can sing a little bit, too. I don't know if you ever heard him sing. My goodness, that's a fun fact you didn't think you were going to hear today. Against the pass, the Rams defense. I think that's my question. I love asking questions because these are the biggest storylines for the Rams. They were 25th in yards per attempt allowed in passing game, 29th in big play rate, and 27th in touchdown rate. So all these, their front 7, especially their D-line, I think was young but effective. On the back end and the secondary, I think they still have their question marks.
Yeah, they're allowing big plays, not good.
Witherspoon's back. We'll see. I'm curious. Wow. Silence.
No, that's
really it on the
Rams.
Rams.
That's them. Like, it's all on Stafford.
The Rams are who we thought they were if Stafford's healthy. I like them. I mean, the over-under is interesting just because of Stafford's health, and we're going to keep harping on that because that is the biggest. Every time a quarterback has question marks, at health especially.
X factor.
Worried.
X factor, man.
Stafford's back.
Health. Yeah, Stafford's back.
9.5.
And also that's secondary. 9.5. I think I'm going to go under because I don't trust in that back holding up.
I agree. I'm going to go under. I think they're an 8 or 9 win team, but I don't think they're going to be over this year. Sorry.
Is their backup quarterback Jimmy G?
That's a high end backup,
and
though.
Stetson Bennett.
I'm kind of. We'll see.
Jim. The Seahawks, second place last year. They also finished 10-7, but they missed the playoffs. They were 18th in offensive EPA per play, 20th against the pass, 25th running the ball. They were 10th. Defense, much better. Mike McDonald leading the way. 10th in defensive EPA per play, 11th in EPA per dropback, and then 13th against the run. Dalton, Philly, you had a little fun fact in your notes that they were the only 10-win team to miss the playoffs in 2024. Overall, thoughts on the Seahawks heading into the year? I've changed my mind the more time this offseason has gone on. I started this offseason being like, oh boy, I do not think this is a talented roster. I think they're really going to have trouble offensively. I'm thinking no way that Sam Darnold is going to hit any of the high marks that he hit last year without McConnell and without Justin Jefferson. But the more time has gone on, I've remembered, hey, you kind of, like, I really do like Mike McDonald. I like what he's building. I think he's one of the exceptions of a defensive coach that I feel comfortable being a head coach, right? And I also like bringing in Kubiak to be the offense coordinator.
I do too.
And I think it could fit the strengths of this offense of where it is right now, where Sam Darnold is as a quarterback right now.
Well, I think one of the biggest things you mentioned in Clint Kubiak, like they worked together with the Niners in 23 before Darnold had the starting job in 24 with Minnesota Vikings. Sam Darnold and Clint Kubiak do have a connection, a familiar tie. So I think that does play into effect in a positive aspect for Sam Darnold for this year. But Justin Penik, I think the biggest thing for Seattle, and especially with who their quarterback is in Sam Darnold, for years we've been saying it, and it's still a thing. The offensive line for the Seattle Seahawks continues to fucking suck. Mm-hmm. It's impressive how bad this offensive line continues to be. And part of it is like just they don't spend on the offensive line. They've drafted young guys in the past like Charles Cross and Abraham Lucas. But over the last 4 years, they've ranked 28th or worse in spending on the offensive line. That's 4 straight years. They don't address the offensive line, at least in the free agent market. And with Sam Darnold, I'm going on a little bit of a rant here, a little bit of a riff for a reason, though. They have, I don't think it's getting talked about enough. I think this is a big drop-off at quarterback for one big reason.
Yeah.
The offensive line, it gives up a lot of pressure. 32 in yards before contact in the running game, 30th in stuff rate, but then in the passing game, 30th in pressure rate. 30th in pressure rate without blitzing. So when you're sending 4, they're getting home. Lots of penalties, lots of false starts. Geno Smith is one of the best quarterbacks against pressure.
Yeah.
And I think he's still an underrated quarterback in the National Football League. Sam Darnold is not good against pressure. When the Minnesota Vikings and Sam Darnold struggled last year was against the Rams and the Lions. You know why they struggled in those games? Because those teams got home and put pressure on Sam Darnold. I think he was sacked 8 times in that wild card game versus the Rams. Justin Penik, I think this offense, I am very worried for this offense. I think you bring in Cooper Kupp too, it's a huge step back from what it was last year. And I don't think DK Metcalf is this great receiver, but I think it's a downgrade to a 32-year-old Cooper Kupp.
Yeah, I was on your wavelength a couple weeks ago. And it's kind of just like, it's more or less a feeling where Kubiak had a very bad offensive line also in New Orleans. And then what did we see from them? Now, I understand they fell apart after the first month, but that first month was legit. That first month that they had was legit. And he's also done some good stuff here and there throughout his
Oh, I'm not worried about Clint Kubiak.
But I think like I agree with you about the offensive line. I agree with you about the talent overall offensively. Yeah. I 100% agree with you. But I just think that Kubiak's going to be able to help them stay on schedule. And what Seattle has not had the last couple years is a run game. And their play callers last year just abandoned the run. Didn't Geno Smith lead the league in pass attempts?
I believe he did.
Which is crazy. Which is absolutely crazy. I don't think that's with that bad offensive line, you shouldn't be leading the league in pass attempts. You know what I mean?
He's up there. He was not number 1, but he's up there.
I would almost say a pass rate. Like they had to be up there. Yeah. So I'm not a huge Kenneth Walker fan. But I think him and Zach Charbonnet, it's a good duo. A solid 1-2 punch. They drafted a fullback this year in the 5th round. I get fired up about even running and passing out of
21 personnel,
big formations, heavy formations, and stuff like that. So if they can run the ball this year, gives them a little bit of promise. Greg Zabel at left guard is a guy that a lot of people like coming out of this year. So even though they didn't really spend on the offensive line, they drafted their guy in the first round on the offensive line. He's going to be going to guard. So I don't know, man.
Justin,
they need to be, if they're top 20, if they're not bottom quarter, then the Seahawks will have a fighting chance at winning some football games.
Bottom quarter in what?
In just an offense and points per drive.
Got it. Okay. To me, they're like the offensive line is a concern. This is a great stat from Warren Sharp. Sam Darnold had 45% of his dropbacks last 3 seconds or more. Yeah. That was way up there. Number 1 in the NFL for a reason.
I almost think that's by design, though.
Yes, but the Minnesota Vikings offensive line was able to hold up.
Yeah.
That's my concern, Seattle. I don't think it will, especially that you bring in Gray Zabel in the first round. Like Charles Cross and Abraham Lucas, shaky. Anthony Bradford at right guard still. There are concerns for a reason. And you downgrade wide receiver. Kenneth Walker can't stay healthy. I'm very, what's the term? Not bullish, but like in Wall Street, it's bullish or bearish.
Sure,
it's a bear market. I don't like the Seahawks offense.
Okay,
this year.
But the defense is a different story because this defense does really have talent on that side of the ball. I think they can get after the quarterback. I think they have really good members of the secondary. Julian Love is a really solid safety.
Your guy.
Kobe Bryant has made a transition to safety. Reek Woolen is one of the top 5 in the NFL at lowest target separation. And then you got Devin Witherspoon in the slot as well. But I feel like there's been times where, before we get to the front and the pass rush, I feel like there's been times where Reek Woolen has been kind of in the doghouse.
Tackling issues.
There's been some criticisms of Devin Witherspoon too, and if you're not watching Seattle kind of every week, I feel like that could be kind of missed.
Yeah, Reek Woolen was the big one because this was, I think, both staffs. I think it was with Pete Carroll and then with Mike McDonald, where he's had issues in the run game and tackling effort, and they're like, "Hey, you're great as a ball hawk and you're great in coverage, but we're gonna need you to play the run a little bit too, brother."
Yeah.
But this defense, you bring in DeMarcus Lawrence too. It's a good front. They're pretty solid against the pass. And Mike McDonald's a great defensive coach. We saw him in 23 with the Baltimore Ravens #1 defense last year. He's building that Seahawks defense now. I like the defense. It's like you said, can the offense not take a massive step back, which is something that I'm predicting it will, and I think you don't have that same thought. Because the over/under, I think we might be split on here.
I'm gonna go under.
You're going under. Oh, you're soft. I'm going under as well.
Because 8.5 is a lot. I mean,
you're talking about
9.
You're like, oh, the Seahawks offense is fine. I love the defense. I love Mike McDonald. Under. It's a copycat league. You just copycatted my over/under.
I mean, we're talking about if old man Stafford's not healthy, then we're talking about maybe a 5-win team.
The Rams?
Yeah,
could be. Yeah.
So,
and you're still taking the under on the Seahawks.
Yes, because there's 2 other teams in this division that I like more.
Wow. And who's the next one?
The next one is the Arizona Cardinals. They went 8-9 last year. They missed the playoffs. They were 10th in offensive EPA per play. They were 13th in EPA per dropback, 8th running the ball. One of the more efficient run games in the NFL over the last couple of years. 24th in defensive EPA per play. It's getting better. 24th in EPA per dropback and 25th in EPA per rush. Dalton Philly, I love this Cardinals offense. I think Kyler Murray is the best decent quarterback in the NFL. If there's here are my tiers, right? Check out the tier maker video. The Big 4, you're really good and there's nothing wrong with that. The CJ Stroud tier that has CJ Stroud, Dak Prescott, Geno Smith, and then I put Kyler Murray right under that. And he is the best decent quarterback in the NFL.
Ridiculous.
And I think he's part of a very, very efficient offense that also could ascend and get better, as Marvin Harrison will hopefully have a little bit of a better year too.
Yep.
And then also, most importantly for this team, this defense does need to get better. And I think they did a decent job this offseason addressing it.
They needed to. And on the offensive side of the ball, they run the ball a lot. That is, they're one of the run heaviest by play percentage in the run game. James Conner, Trey Benson. I'm very curious to see how he looks in, is it a 1A, 1B? Because I know the fantasy world is very curious. Is James Conner going to continue to get this bell cow share? Because he is very good. He's just one of those guys, in my opinion. I know he's been pretty healthy for the most part. I feel like he's one of those guys like Kenneth Walker is another good example where he misses games. Last year he played 16 games. Prior to that, he'd never started 13 games or more in a season. So can James Conner stay healthy in the run game? Trey Benson, I think, will play a big role in that offense. But Trey McBride, Marvin Harrison Jr., they have a couple of guys in the pass catching world where these guys should be taking a step up. Trey McBride, especially finding the end zone, would be awesome. It took him, I think, till week 18 last year to score his first touchdown, though he's one of the leading receiving leaders and reception getters at the tight end position last year. But I think the Cardinals sometimes just have to get out of their own way, Justin Penik. Last year, they were 6-4 through week 10. That was #1 in the NFC West. They faced the hardest schedule in football up until that point.
Yeah.
And they're 6-4. Super impressive start. But there was always a narrative with Cliff Kingsbury and Kyler Murray in the Arizona Cardinals.
And now it's becoming Kyler and not just Cliff.
Right, where they'd fall apart at the end of the year. And that's exactly what happened this year, too, this previous season. They go 1-5 versus the 4-5 Seahawks at the time, the Patriots, the Panthers, the 4-5 Seahawks at the end of the again, and the Rams, who were 4-5. And the Niners, the under 500 teams outside of the Vikings, who were 7-2 in those last 6 games. I don't know what it is with Kyler Murray, but at the end of the year, he just falls apart.
It's a thing. It's a thing. That's why I think he's decent. And I don't see him jumping up a tier QB wise until he really gets that right. I mean, this Cardinals offense, they avoid third down.
Yep.
They have one of the fewest third downs in the NFL. They have one of the lowest average to go distances in the NFL on third down. They stay on schedule. And they don't take sacks. Kyler Murray has never really been a quarterback that takes sacks. I mean, even though he'll hold on to the ball, but a lot of these quarterbacks sometimes will have the high pressure rates and high sack rates when they hold on to the ball for so long. And then you kind of excuse it because there's the magic and the improv and the quarterbacks that run. You kind of like, he can run and he's athletic. That's why he has a high sack rate. Kyler Murray doesn't. He doesn't get sacked.
Yeah.
So there's so many good things here. And then just for whatever reason, I don't even know how you can explain it. Just kind of falls apart in November, December, and then when it really matters most. Frustrating, man. Frustrating. But they needed to. But what's their? Tell me about their early year schedule, because I think it's relatively easy, and it has some divisional opponents in there as well.
Right, and that was my thing with the Cardinals. Like last year, they got off to a hot start versus a very tough schedule. This year, first 6 weeks, very favorable schedule. They have at Saints, at New Orleans versus Spencer Rattler. They're versus the Panthers in Arizona, Bryce Young. Then they're at the 49ers. I think that'll be an intriguing game to watch to see.
That'll be their biggest game.
Right. How will this NFC West shake out to begin the year? They play the Seahawks. They play the Titans with rookie Cam Ward. And then they're at Indianapolis versus, sadly, Daniel Jones.
So you think they should be 4-2?
I think they should be 5-1, quite frankly.
Yeah.
If you get through this at 4-2, you feel good about yourself. And it's like, that's what we're supposed to do. The minimum is 4-2. They should be 5-1. At worst. Like, I think you should chalk up week 3 to being a loss, especially since the game's in San Francisco. But the other 5 games, I think, are games you have to win.
Tell me about the defense.
Defensive line. I think that was the biggest thing, that one of the biggest holes the Arizona Cardinals had. And again, I mentioned it with the Seahawks offensive line. They weren't addressing it, especially in free agency, and they wouldn't have draft, sure. The Cardinals did it kind of both ways this year. They signed Josh Sweat, going back to our preview, our projections going into our free agency draft. Thank you. I couldn't find the words. I predicted Josh Sweat to the Cardinals. My bad. Dalvin Tomlinson and Calais Campbell also joined the defensive line in the Cardinals through free agency.
39.
He's
He just
wonder.
turned 39 September 1st.
Oh, happy belated. Very good.
He's the mayor of Saxonville.
He is the mayor of 2017, electric. But it's funny. He's back in Arizona, too. How do we not? I didn't even think about that.
So fun.
Really good year. Quick sidebar: him and Mercedes Lewis, the ageless wonders on the offense and defensive side of the ball. But then they drafted Walter Nolan, who I really liked out of Ole Miss with the 16th overall pick. Obviously, has some question marks outside of the game as well. And then they drafted Jordan Burch in the 3rd round. Darius Robinson was hurt last year until late in the year. Their 1st round pick from 2024. This defensive line is revamped, man. Like, they addressed, that was their biggest issue on the defensive side of the ball. And quite frankly, I love what they did at the position. And Jonathan Gannon's a defensive guy. But last year, they were 2nd in defensive success rate. Not pretty, not good. And that's something they're going to have to get better at, which I think they will, especially after addressing the defensive line.
Walter Nolan on PUP, he didn't even, Walter Nolan didn't even participate in camp at all.
No, I know. And that's something they're very excited for. The PUP. Yeah. I want to love you.
My guy BJ Ojolari also on PUP too. What is this?
Whoa, I didn't know that one.
What is this? Cody Simon went to St. Peter's Prep. 4th round linebacker out of Ohio State.
Just no need.
He went to the same high school as me.
Just no need.
St. Peter's Prep defensive players in the NFL. Shout out Micah Fitzpatrick as well. This Cardinals defense should get better. They need to get. I mean, they almost need to do everything better. They need to get to the quarterback more.
Will Johnson slipped in the draft too, who should be a highly touted CB if he's healthy.
I'm happy that he's not on PUP. They need to be better on 3rd down. They were awful on 3rd down. They were 28th on 3rd down last year. So it goes without saying that they need to take a step up.
X factor.
I mean, we've done quarterback. We've gone chalk for so many. Let's get more unique here.
Okay, I have mine.
Let's get more unique here. Oh, you know what? Baron Browning.
You like Baron Browning?
He's like the one exception in the NFL where he plays like that star, like Isaiah Simmons wishes he was Baron Browning.
Elaborate.
He kind of is like a jack of all trades, master of none, doesn't play an exact position, but he's good.
Baron Browning.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. That's where I thought you were going with it, but I wasn't entirely sure because I don't think he's nearly as athletic as Isaiah Simmons was.
but
But he's a better football player.
If Isaiah Simmons' career has certainly not gone the way that he's wanted it to, right?
Yeah.
It goes without saying. And it's funny that Baron Browning's
Top 10 pick, yeah.
It's funny how
Top
Baron
50
Browning's
pick.
on the Cardinals. Certainly hasn't gone the way that he's wanted. But if Isaiah Simmons had to settle down into a role in the NFL, I think he would choose Baron Browning's role.
Interesting.
As a guy that gets after the quarterback, but can also play like this off-ball linebacker too. And
They always have these guys because Dion Buchanan was another one that the Cardinals kind of experimented with.
Yeah.
It's some sort of
but
hybrid role.
they kind of got all these guys off the team that were like these tweeners. Like they got who's that kid from UCLA?
Swat Cravens?
No. He was they
He was, I was gonna say, he's Washington.
Back-to-back first-round picks on Isaiah Simmons and then this kid out of UCLA the next year.
UCLA.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, I heard USC.
Is it because you're white?
Might have been, yeah.
So they did back-to-back years of like these guys that we think they can get after the quarterback, but also they're linebackers, but they're not that good linebackers. But we're gonna put them at linebacker. So they're done with that era, which I really like. Oh, they also bring in Dalvin Thompson. This is a front.
I said that.
Darius Alexander year 2.
My X factor, I'm so glad you asked. It's just Marvin Harrison Jr., man. Year 1, like he was productive, but I think it was, I would say if we were grading it for what we were expecting, I think it was like a C. He didn't, I don't think he flashed, if you will, like we thought he would, especially when you saw the years that Malik Neighbors had and Brian Thomas Jr. had. He didn't crack 900 yards, and he scored 8 touchdowns, which is awesome. And I think that's something that I think he actually could replicate, if not even add on to next year. But I think the Cardinals offense takes a step up if Marvin Harrison Jr. takes a step up, because that opens up the pass game even more, and especially I think they get even better on third down.
Over under 8.5.
I think we're on the same wavelength.
Over.
I hate you so much. I feel like death talking about the over-unders because we're just too much on the same page.
We could talk about two different things, but we're still being on the same page.
Yeah, book. Last team?
The winners of the NFC West.
For this year. Certainly wasn't last year.
Yeah. They won that. No, they didn't. The 49ers, they finished with the record of 6-11 and missed the playoffs. Yeah. They were 11th in offensive EPA per play, 9th in EPA per dropback, 12th in EPA per rush. Whoa, well, that's really good. That's like a top 10 offense. What happened? Well, they were bad defensively. 26th in defensive EPA per play, 18th in EPA per dropback, even though it feels like it may have been worse than that. 29th in EPA per rush. Dalton, Philly, they lost close games, and they were hurt. And
amen.
Now they finally found their defense coordinator back. Robert Saleh comes home. I am so excited about that. They're going to run stunts. They're going to run twists. And we're going to have a damn old good time hitting the quarterback again in San Fran, like we did in 2022, like when Nick Bosa was Defensive Player of the Year. And you're going to get Christian McCaffrey back, hopefully. And I think this offense could still... Like, if a Kyle Shanahan down year on offense is 11th in offensive EPA per play, sign me the fuck up.
Justin. There are some question marks with the San Francisco 49ers.
Oh, stop.
But I think it's positive regression, our favorite term, rather than regression, because last year they were the most injured team in football.
Yeah.
Outright. Like, just ranked in terms of value that was missed by missed games, IR. Number one. The prior year, when they made the NFC Championship game, they were 29th most injured, meaning the 4th healthiest team in football the previous season. Last year, they faced one of the hardest schedules in football. This year, they're expected to face the easiest schedule.
They got a last-place schedule.
Versus their projected team's record. But the biggest thing for me, it goes back to the health, right? I need the Niners offense to be consistent, have some continuity within the roster. Because last year, they ran... You actually know what? Don't look at the cheat. Don't cheat. How many plays did the Niners have with Purdy, CMC, Ayuk, Debo, and Kittle on the field last year?
Not includes Ricky Pearsall, right?
Does not include Ricky Pearsall. I think that might be 0.
Yeah, because Ricky Pearsall got shot last year.
Oh, really?
Now, Nico, the whole Texans crew had 66. So this is Kittle, Debo, Ayuk, McCaffrey,
and Purdy.
But
I don't think that Purdy doesn't mean anything.
I'm going to say 22.
That's a little higher. 57. But 57 total plays. Not a bad guess.
So it's the same thing as the Texans.
Right. And so I understand that Debo's gone and Ayuk's going to start the year hurt, but you're going to have Pearsall and Jawan Jennings take a massive step up to begin the year in the receiver room.
Yeah. I don't I don't think that offense needs to. They should be better because it's Shanahan, because it's the 49ers, and Purdy's played big time. I think Purdy had a good year last year.
Yeah.
Sue me. I think Brock Purdy is a good NFL quarterback. I know that he isn't flashy. I know that he isn't extravagant.
You know what it is, Penik? Off of that point, it's just that he's efficient because they don't throw the ball much. Since they traded for CMC, they have the lowest passing percentage of plays on offense. They run the ball so much, and they're efficient with it. The outside zone scheme that Kyle Shanahan does, you're going to have a healthy CMC. That's great. But when they ask Purdy to throw the ball, he's good at it. They just don't ask him to do it a lot. So I think if he had to do it in terms of quantity, maybe those numbers take a hit. But like you said, I agree with you. Like, he was an efficient quarterback last year.
I think he had to carry a little bit more last year than he really ever has. Where,
Right.
2023, he plays in 16 games, plays in 15 games in 2024, but has 11 more pass attempts. So he did have to throw a little bit more than last year. I don't know, man. It's the defense for me that if the 49ers are going to get back to kicking ass and competing for the NFC, that's where it's going to have to come. Because I think that's where the common denominator, as everybody talks about Purdy and everybody talks about Debo, and he's fat, and McCaffrey and the health and the offensive line, and I think it all just rests in that defense where numbers wise they finally take a step back last year numbers wise, but even like 2023 where they fire their defense coordinator and it's like, well, their efficiency, they're good, but it's you look really within it, it's like, well, they're not kicking ass like they used to, and that's the difference of what they were doing when they were making Super Bowls, when they were competing in the NFC every single year. So you get Robert Saleh back, and not just that, I think they crushed the draft. Mykal Williams in the first round. Alfred Collins.
You like that. You were a big Alfred Collins guy.
Loved Alfred Collins. Nick Martin's a linebacker they got in the third round. And then you want to know what's funny?
What's so funny?
I was thinking to myself through the pre-draft process, do you want Alfred Collins in the second or the third round, or do you want C.J. West in the fourth round? Like, C.J. West is kind of like an Alfred Collins light, except he provides a little bit of a higher ceiling pass rushing wise, I think. What do the 49ers do? They got both of them. They just drafted both of them. And hey, why not both? It's like that taco commercial. So I think they crushed the draft. They're going to have a lot of these young guys. They're going to depend on them, including some of these guys in the secondary as well. I'm excited about this defense. I think they're more athletic. I think they're faster. Let's just get Bryce Huff from the Eagles back in here.
Yeah.
Robert Saleh.
Bring him back.
Bryce Huff had his best year under Robert Saleh with the Jets. So I think this front is... I don't know if it's that same what they had in 2022 with like Ibukam and some of those other guys. And Jesse Armstead. No, Jesse Armstead's a former Giant. What's his face? He went to Jacksonville. Eric Armstead. Thank you. Jesse Armstead's a former Giant. I don't know if it's that.
At least you didn't say Teron Armstead. Different position.
I don't know if it's that, but I'm excited about this unit.
I'm excited about the defense because Robert Saleh's coming back, but I think there are some concerns, especially in the secondary with Malik Mustafa starting the year on the PUP list. Their safety room is not pretty. You lose Halfunga to the Denver Broncos in free agency. So right now you're starting Marquis Single, and your guy, Jason Pinnock, is the starting strong safety right now.
He'll be okay.
According to our lads, that could change, obviously, pending health too. But Justin Penik, I think the biggest concerns, there's two with the Niners last year. Number one, they have one player last year who accumulated more than 4 sacks returning. That's Nick Bosa.
Yeah.
Pretty good. That guy can play. But number two, and arguably the more pressing issue, the Niners' defense was awful in the red zone. They were 31st in allowing red zone touchdown drives when they're in the red zone, and they were 30th in goal to go. Shocking numbers by Niners defense standards. I think that does adjust and change with Robert Saleh back as the play caller on the defensive side of the ball. But hey, you also lose Dre Greenlaw, who I think is another really good player, and I think he did get overshadowed by Fred Warner because obviously he's an all-pro linebacker. But Dre Greenlaw can play. When he's on the field, he's had his concerns last year with health, but he is an amazing athlete.
X Factor. Robert Saleh. That's my X Factor. Can you bring this defense back to being a top 10 unit, running stunts, twists, and I think Nick Bosa can have another year where he hits the quarterback almost 50 times like he did in 2022.
I think mine's Michael Williams, just like first round pick, athlete. He was a guy that's like, all right, where are you going to play him? How is he going to play? He has Robert Saleh as defense coordinator. I think that helps. And he's going to have to play early on because in terms of edge, the depth they have, it's really Nick Bosa, Michael Williams, but then Bryce Huff. We'll see how he is.
Yeah.
And then Yatir Gross-Matos, who I loved out of Penn State, but just has never really clicked.
I do not like him.
Yeah.
I judge you if you like a Penn State edge rusher.
I'm an athlete freak.
That isn't
Odafe away.
That isn't Micah Parsons and Abdul Carter, but away, Arnold DB I fell for it with Arnold DB
I didn't. Odafe away, I did. But he's been fine, Odafe. Over under.
He evolved. Over under 10.5. Never wrong, just early. Over under is 10.5. Strong for a team that finished 6-11 last year, but I'm going over. And I know they're not very healthy to start the year, but I like the last place schedule. I believe in Kyle Shanahan and that offense being good no matter what. Can we get that defense to a good spot? And I think it will be over 10.5. I think we're competing. We're competing with the Eagles and the Packers in the NFC.
I wish the line was 9.5 because I would definitely say over. I think I'm going to also say over.
No.
Yeah. I mean, this is the one I really didn't know what I wanted to say, but the easiest schedule, you're getting CMC back, Salah on the defense. I think there's a lot of positive news for this San Francisco Niners storyline in 2025.
Okay. Division results. Are you going to say that I'm crazy if I go the exact opposite of what it was last year?
No, it's kind of close to
49ers, Cardinals, Seahawks, Rams.
I'm going to be a sucker. I'm a Diamondbacks fan, and I think my people in Arizona would love it. So Arizona Cardinals are 1.
Wow.
I'm going to put the Niners 2. I'm going to put the Rams 3, and I'm going to put Seattle 4.
Are you going to promote this episode to your Arizona-based people? Be like, do Arizona Diamondbacks fans also like the Arizona Cardinals? I would imagine they do.
Do you think the Arizona Diamondbacks and Arizona Cardinals hang out when they're in the same town?
No, they don't. Because they're not the same mascot name.
And they're also not in the same town. That's your question.
Glendale, and then
Phoenix.
Glendale's it's a pseudo Phoenix.
Wrap it up.
I've been there.
Guys, thank you for watching our divisional previews the entire offseason. Football's back, and it's better than ever.
Hey now, football's back. We'll see you whenever we see you.